It's the State Show with Jeff Mavros. And here's your host, Jeff Mavros. I said, here's your host, Jeff Mavros. Come on, man. Hey, we got a large pizza for a Jeff Mavros over here. There's no pizza, Jeff. Start the show.
Hey, welcome to the State Show with Jeff Mavros. I'm your host, Jeff Mavros. I am the Director of Admissions here at Illinois State, and I got to tell you, the red shell is my absolute favorite item in Mario Kart. Hey, Reg, you got a favorite item in Mario Kart? Of course you're a star guy. Good call. Ladies and gentlemen, don't click away. You're in the right place. This is the State Show, and we are your number one source for admissions-related information. Okay, we're your number two. We're a source. We are indeed a source of information that's admissions related, and you might find us on the internet. And you could use us when you've exhausted all other options. Okay, that's where we are. We are not, however, to be confused with the Snake Show, the Steak Show, or Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt. While these are all quality programs, this is the only college admissions related talk show on the internet, as far as we know. And today, we're talking about gaming, or to put a finer point on it, we're talking about esports. So grab yourself the best noise-canceling headset you got, nestle into that adjustable ergonomic racing striped gaming chair, and pour yourself a 64-ounce Mountain Dew. It's go time. But first, Red Zeppelin. I said, but first, Red Zeppelin. Red Zeppelin, everybody, thanks so much for the effort, guys. So while we let the band finish their games, let's talk about esports. If you haven't heard of esports, you're very likely older than I, and you might relish the opportunity to yell at children to get off your lawn. For esports are everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, and like rock and roll, they're here to stay. Esports, loosely defined, are competitive video games often played by professionals in front of spectators. And just like that, I've divided you all into two distinct groups. Group 1, bet I've been following PSG on Twitch for 2 years. And Group 2, wait, people actually watch other people play video games? Regardless of what group you're in, you now know at least this much. Esports are very real, and they're getting realer. As evidence of that fact, last year's World Championships for League of Legends, one of the most popular games or titles played, had nearly 100 million unique viewers online. Last year's Super Bowl, in comparison, 98 million. It's true. Sorry, football. You thought football was coming to get you. Try Rocket League. It's big business, too. With approximately 2.7 billion gamers worldwide, the video games market is worth an astounding $159 billion. So why am I telling you all this? Well, Illinois State is the first public university in Illinois to have a varsity esports program. And while it is indeed about competing in video games at a very high level, it's also about so much more. And we have just the right person to tell us about the so much more part. Here to tell us all about esports and gaming on the Illinois State campus is the university's esports program director, Mr. David Kirk. David.
Jeff, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I am doing great.
Good, have a seat. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. So it's pretty clear that the university has jumped in 2 feet on this esports thing, but I'm sure it's not all fun and games. Can you give us an idea as to why the university's made such a commitment?
Yeah, so I think the university saw that there was this growing student population on campus who were interested in video games and esports, and they wanted to support them. So not only does that become a tool to help keep those students and the students that they might recruit, but it also becomes its own recruitment tool when you're starting to try to collect students from whether it's around the region or around the country and entice them to want to come to Illinois State. I think the university also saw that there was an opportunity to provide these students real-world skills in this growing billion-dollar esport industry. Whether that be in broadcast and production, social media and marketing, tech and digital development, there are so many different schools and disciplines that we already have here that we can tap into the esport audience.
Did I say he dropped some knowledge, or did I say he dropped some knowledge? So who are these students, David, if you don't mind my asking? At the outset, I mentioned the 64-ounce Mountain Dew, conjuring images of the slovenly guy living in his parents' basement, you know, not coming up for hours or for air. Is that fair anymore?
So just like anything, there are definitely folks on that extreme end of the spectrum. But when you're looking at the highest level esport athlete, really you're starting to see what we see in traditional athletics, where not only are you spending an immense amount of time practicing your craft and practicing your game skills, but you're spending a lot of time with your health and wellness. So a lot of times these professional organizations, they hire personal trainers, they hire nutritionists, and they really put their players on a mindful regiment so that they can ensure that they're not just being great players, but they're being great people. There's a lot of research that shows that a healthy gamer is a good gamer.
Another stereotype that I've kind of carried with me over time is that esports are very male dominated. Is that accurate?
At the upper tiers of competition, that is definitely true. I think a lot of that is just because of society. Coming up, video games were predominantly marketed towards males, but as gaming becomes more accessible right now and it becomes more acceptable, which I think is the more important thing, you're starting to see more and more females, as well as folks of underrepresented groups, starting to want to engage in gaming and esports. I think if we look at our varsity teams here, it's a great example of that. Not only do we have a female player on our varsity Overwatch team, but we also have the only female student varsity coach as the varsity Overwatch coach. Additionally, we have our head coach for Overwatch, who is an alumni and a female, in Megan Lomanoff, and she has had some success in her own right in the esport industry, helping found and develop the United States Army esports team and program.
Wow. That's awesome, and I think all that conversation around inclusion, the focus that you've got in that way, really aligns with the university's focus on inclusion, so that's super cool. And the bit about the alumni engagement is great. Is there any other opportunity for alumni at large to get involved with the esports program?
Yeah, so we're being really intentional with how we're building out the program to ensure that students don't just have the opportunity to engage, faculty, staff have the opportunity to engage, but once they're done with their journey here at ISU, they still have a chance to be a part of what we're building. So like I mentioned, we have some alumni who are currently helping coach, whether it be our club teams or our varsity teams, but we've also got alumni who are helping do our casting and broadcasting for all of our varsity and club competitions. Additionally, we've got alumni who aren't great at either one of those things, but just like to play video games. So in our weekly club events, they're participating in those as well.
I would have had no idea. That's great. So one thing I do have an idea about is the incredible success you guys have had at the esports level with Redbird Esports on kind of that national level, especially for a brand new program, so to speak. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, so everything's preseason, so I'll stamp it with that asterisk. But we've had some success in our varsity titles as well as a lot of our club titles. For club, right now, we have the #2 ranked Rainbow Six Siege team. We also have the #2 ranked Call of Duty team after just beating UIUC, which I'm very happy about. For varsity, our Rocket League team right now are playing in a preseason tournament where they're currently within the top 25 of the country. Our Overwatch team are playing in the Blizzard Developer Series called TESPA in their preseason tournament, and they're also within the top 25. And then our League of Legends team has probably had the most success so far in the 2 months that we've been a varsity program. And we are ranked, depending on who you talk to, #2 in the country right now, having beat the likes of a variety of traditionally powerhouse programs, including previous national champions Harrisburg University 2 times.
So preseason or not, when you talk about top 10, top 25, out of how many teams are we thinking across the country?
It really depends on the game. I know Rocket League right now, as it just went free to play, has seen a lot of growth collegiately. We've got roughly 400 Rocket League teams across the country, all at varsity, club level, some just student groups who get together to play. There's really not a lot of formalization for it right now. And then Overwatch, we're looking probably around 300, and then League of Legends right around 200, 250.
Wow. So a lot of success very early, obviously, and it is becoming evidently clear to me that I could not make one of your varsity rosters. But let's say that I'm just somebody that likes to play games on the side and I'm competitive, but not at that level. Is there a place for me here at Illinois State?
So first, I think you're selling yourself short, Jeff. I've seen you play Mario Kart.
I'm not bad with the red shell, I'll tell you.
But yes, that's really where our clubs come into play. Our clubs are really geared to be our developmental program. So Regardless of your skill level, of your ranking, most of our clubs have teams at individual skill tiers that are all meant to help support you to get to that next level. My goal would be at the, a year or 2 years in, rather than when we go to recruiting looking nationally to find the best players, we're just looking internally within our club system because we already have the best players here. Additionally, if we're trying to vet a game to see if it makes sense to turn that game title into a varsity program, we look at our clubs for not only success and engagement, but also how they're faring right now competitively. So when we look at Call of Duty or Rainbow Six Siege or Counter-Strike, some of these popular game titles, they're on the cusp of becoming varsity because of how well they're doing just as a club at this point.
Okay, so I'm asking this one now for a friend. Even at the club level, to be involved in esports at Illinois State, do I need to have thumbs, David?
Yes, Jeff, having thumbs are very helpful with video games.
Sorry, bud. Well, David, this has been awesome, exceptionally informative, and obviously you guys are doing some incredible things, so thanks again for being on the show. I'm so impressed that I don't ever really do this, but would you do me the honor in actually reading off our Redbird shout out for the day today?
Sure.
Great.
All right, so today's future Redbird shout out is to Austin K. from St. Jacob, Illinois. Austin was the most recent student to join our Discord server and connect with Redbird Gaming on that platform. We're excited about your interest, Austin, and you're going to have a little swag in the mail very soon as a show of our appreciation.
Awesome, very well done. David Kirk, everybody. And we are just about out of time, so let's summarize. Today, we learned about what esports are, and we learned that we should have already known what they are because they are very, very popular. It's a brave new world, my friends, and Illinois State is ready for it. We have the very first program among public universities in the state at the varsity level, and we are already making a name for ourselves on a national stage. What's more, we're creating new opportunities for Redbirds to connect and build community, both on campus and off. And we're developing new curricular and extracurricular programs that support this growing demand in this area. So if you're at all interested in gaming, we got you covered. And if you're not interested in gaming, tune in for our next episode. It's all about housing and dining at Illinois State. Everybody wants to know if the food's any good, right? Until then, thanks for being with us. Be good and level up. Go Birds.